Well, it looks as though because he's hitting such a great length now, he's taken Thierry's game away from him. He's able to express himself the way that he can do, which is very impressive.
Yeah, yeah. When it's good, it's good. But
And do you think that Jonathan is his physique is still as good as it has been the last couple of years? Do you think after 10 years on tour he's struggling a little bit? Or?
No, I think he's one of those guys. He's never been accused of overtraining.
Yeah.
And so he's fairly strong lad. And when he does when he keeps himself strong and does the core work and works with his trainers in Montreal, then I think it bodes well. But you know what he's like with some of the guys when they're shot makers. They need that confidence. All the time. They need to be on their feel their hands and on top of their game.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what he seems to be doing here. He really is controlling the court with his racket.
Yeah.
Well, other than there, commentator's curse, I think.
There you go.
Threw the ball out the court.
That'll happen again, Martin. So just get used to it, okay?
Well, okay. Mike Way, thank you very much for your input. Okay. We'll hand back to John White now. Well, very nice chap, Mike Way.
Great.
Been living in Toronto for the last probably 40 years. I don't think you allow me to say that. Maybe 20 years, 15 years. But
he's even sounding Canadian these days, isn't he?
Part of the Bricks and the Toronto Racket Club.
Well, here we have Thierry LINCOU with the 4-2 lead here.
I think this is the first time that Thierry LINCOU has been in the lead for probably since the first game, John.
He's actually picked the pace up and he's actually getting good length, and he's picked his own game up and putting pressure on Power by hitting the ball that little bit extra harder than instead of just tapping around like he did in second and third and let Power control the match.
Yeah. Well, this is an important time for Thierry. Really, he's got to put a little bit of lead between himself and Jonathan here. Give himself a cushion. Give himself that feeling that he can try a couple of things out. Try and get his length again. He's not forced into making quick winners to get back to parity. You know?
Yeah. As you said at the end of the last game, he's got to get in there and he's got to control himself and he's got to make the rallies go that little bit longer. And that's the way he likes to play. It frustrates Power a little bit more and it gets him back in his own game plan. So he sort of started off like that in this game. He's got to a 4-2 lead. So he's just got to stick to his game plan like he did in the first game. And who knows, we could have a thrilling 5-setter coming up.
Well, as we just heard from Mike Way there, Jonathan's plan was to take Thierry LINCOU's the middle of his backhand volley away from him. That was a crucial shot for Thierry LINCOU. So
indeed it was. Because Thierry cuts off the ball very, very easily if it's half court, which he was, and it was frustrating Jonathan. Jonathan got a few no-lets. Thierry hit a few good winners in there, which gave him that good lead in the first game. And then Jonathan come out, completely closed it down after what his coach said, Mike Way, and it paid off very well for him.
Oh, just a scrappy movement there from Jonathan Power. And Thierry LINCOU really does have great focus. Probably one of his trademarks, really, is concentration, his determination.
It's a great little backhand tight shot, but he's got himself into a rather comfortable lead here, as you were saying. He's 6-2 here now, Martin. Great little lead for Thierry going into the fourth game. Obviously being 2-1 down, he needs to stay focused. As you said, he is very, very, he can focus very well from start to finish, and it looks like he's got his game plan back on.
Well, he's making Jonathan do a lot of work here. Oh, beautiful flick. Just clipped the side wall.
Just Jonathan's movements out of those two front corners, and he can, as you said, on the back end there, he just flicked it to quite a good length off of a rather difficult position, which not very many other players can do that on the circuit out there. But
absolutely,
Power seems to get in there so quickly with a little bit of extra time to spare.
Oh, beautiful shot.
Lovely little
just
drop shot
fast
there.
feet and fast hands. If you've got fast feet and fast hands, you can do any sport well.
Indeed you can, and that's one great asset that Jonathan Power does have. You've been known to have the fast hands and quick feet now and again, Martin, as you've been in a final or two here at Grand Central Station, I do believe.
Well, I think I don't know whether these days are long gone, John. Hopefully not, but certainly, yeah, it was a nice time to be involved and be a contender for a while.
Great reflexes by Power, and
oh, that's probably one of the decisions I agree with that the referee.
indeed, it was a great reflex action by Power, but just hit the ball up the middle of the court and was trying to get it away, but the ball was following him. He just had nowhere to go.
Well, I thought that was a fairly simple late decision there. The ball was nowhere near Terry LINCOU.
No, even if Power had a hit,
not really happy about that decision. Still favouring Jonathan.
Still
Power,
favouring Jonathan Power, especially with his down 7-3. But he could have easily hit the ball if he had hit the ball and swung. He wouldn't have hit LINCOU with the racket or the ball either. So it was more of a safety let because the ball in the middle of the court and the two players just Terry trying to clear and Jonathan trying to play the ball. As you see it again.
Well, there's an interesting situation. Jonathan really using his body to come back into his opponent, try and force his opponent away.
He wasn't going to make any leeway for Thierry. Make it as hard as possible for him to get to that ball.
Both these guys are very good at that. You spend a lot of time banging into them, spend a lot of energy going round them as well. We both know what that's like, John.
Indeed, the times I've played them, and you come off a victor, and it's you can win in 4 or 5, but then the next day the body's not sore, the legs aren't really that sore. It's the hip area, just from the collisions that happen on the tee and going to and from the ball, just from colliding into either Jonathan or Terry, just the way they do move and put you under pressure. That's a pretty good call there.
Well, yeah, didn't seem to be any great interference.
No, he's sort of
just a simple shot for Jonathan Power.
yeah. That's again.
Well, that gives Thierry an 8-3 lead here. This is proven to be quite a lead.
Yeah. Indeed,
Hard
it is
for Jonathan to get back.
Indeed, going into the 4th game, Thierry's got a great lead, and the momentum is going to take him into the 5th game. If he can take this game quite reasonably easy, which he is, he's got a great lead of 8-3. If he can close this game out quite well as he did in the 1st.
Well, it doesn't look as though either of them are struggling physically yet.
No, it hasn't. As you said before, it hasn't been. There hasn't been that many long, hard, grueling rallies that would make the body tired. It's been short and sweet, and a lot of stop and start, which is going to be given both players a little bit of extra rest between rallies.
Well, 9-3. Well, John, you're one of the few players that possesses a positive record against Jonathan Power. He seemed to have a very good record the last couple of years against him. Is that due to any special kind of tactics, or do you think it's just styles of play?
The first match or so that I played against Power, he really did frustrate me with his antics on court and just the way it's a stop and start. And the last couple of times I played him, it's sort of, I've had to change my game, not to let him control it, and there's not so much pushing and shoving on the court. And I just completely focused and thought, well, there's going to be a lot of let calls like this here. There's going to be a lot of stop and start, and you just got to deal with it, which most of these calls Jonathan's asking for, and Terry's just getting on with it as well, which is good composure from Terry, and that's the last couple of times I played Power. That's the way I've played him. It's going to be a stop and start, and with a lot of let calls, but you have to deal with it. There again, Power. I thought it was going to. You wanted to stop and ask for
stop. The ball was tight to the wall. You wanted to blame someone for that.
Indeed. Yeah. But that's just the experience of playing Power and just realising that that's the way he loves to play. And if you get frustrated, and he knows that, he just picks his game up more just to frustrate you that little bit more.
Well, he really is a great hustler, though. I always found from playing him that even if I felt I was outplaying him, he'd just pick off 3 or 4 points in the middle of a match, just when you needed them.
Indeed. Just when you thought you were in control, he just picks off these 3 or 4 little great reflexes here at the front of the court here.
Oh, what a fantastic rally.
Uh-oh.
Oh, finished in a little bit of a back charge from Terry LINCOU,
yeah,
but
Jonathan, but it was
an end to probably the best
probably
rally of the match.
I was just going to say probably one of the longest and best rallies I've had of the match. And with that little bit of a collision, Jonathan's got a sore back and Terry's got a bit of a sore shoulder, but I'm sure they're both wanting the rest after that.
Well, that was a tight drop shot from Jonathan Power there, tight to the wall. I think Terry would have been lucky to scrape that one off the wall.
I think he would have, and I think he sort of played the man more than the ball, because obviously he saw the ball being a little bit tight and he didn't want to hit the ball back to himself or hit an error, so he sort of opted to, creating your own interference. The referee saw that and gave him a let. Ooh, that was...
Well, I thought that ball was down.
I thought it was down. So did THIERRY. Yeah, the referees saw it down. And we even heard it from here, Jonathan.
Just trying to get away with it. I think he knew that ball was down.
Yeah. But Martin, what a great lead for THIERRY after being 2-1 down, losing the second and third quite easily, 15-6, 15-8, and coming out, and he's got a 11-3 lead here in the fourth.
I think the thing I'm surprised about this, John, is the fact that Jonathan really is not making THIERRY work for his points. I would have thought if THIERRY was going to get back and take it to a fifth game, you think you'd want to try and take some of the energy out of his legs.
Indeed, you want to
try and make him a little bit more tired, so
yeah,
he's got the ascendancy in the fifth game. But
indeed, but all of a sudden it's like Power trying to, after THIERRY winning the first game, he tried to win too many cheap points, where Power's trying to win too many cheap points at the front where he's good at it, but he's got to do it at the right times when he's most comfortable of doing it.
Do you think there's a possibility that Jonathan might be a little bit tired?
It could be.
He's going for cheap winners.
It could be. He's never been renowned for his complete fitness going into the long 4 and 5 setters. So, but who knows? It could just be a bit of a mental relapse from Power, and he could come out screaming in the fifth game. But we'll soon see.
Well, if Jonathan is anything, he's unpredictable.
Indeed.
Great boast from LINCOU.
Yeah.
Great rally. Well, his great length was rewarded there. Tight length, tight drop shot, and then a kill to the back of the court. Oh, 5-13. I don't know what Jonathan Power feels he's going to do here. Probably feels he can't really win this game. I'm sure he's not going to capitulate just yet, but
No, he's
maybe try and run THIERRY around a little bit.
he hasn't hit a good length for a good. Oh dear. And I have to admit that's
Well,
mate, that was a good call.
Jonathan, be quiet. Come on, just concentrate. 14-5, game ball.
Definitely wasn't a stroke situation. If anything, barely a let there, Martin.
well, you just hope that these decisions don't come out at 40-0 in the fifth game.
That's the
And there, THIERRY LINCOU taking the game 15-5. Very strange game, John, but that takes us into a fifth game. It should be very interesting.
Games are 2-all. Fifth game, Mr. LINCOU to serve. Love all.
Well, welcome back to this fifth game here in Grand Central Terminal. The game standing at 2-all. THIERRY LINCOU coming back from 2-1 down to level at 2-all. The game so far, LINCOU winning the first 15-8, 6-15, 6-15, and then winning again 15-5 to take the game to a fifth game. So a very interesting clash of styles, John. LINCOU winning by playing a kind of slow game, chopping the ball into the front of the court when he's got the opportunity. Jonathan seeming to win his points from playing fast-paced, taking the ball early, really putting pressure on the ball, crunching the ball at the back and then crunching the ball at the front.
Indeed, he has. It's as you said, it's been a up and down roller coaster, and it just seems with the roller coaster, whoever gets a very good lead of 4 or 5 points has taken the game rather convincingly, and the opponent hasn't got more than 9 points in the games that they've won or lost. So it's going to be very interesting here, and both players the last couple of rallies have been, everything's been virtually hit to the back of the court, so they're obviously, Jonathan's coach has told Jonathan to get a good length, and THIERRY finished the fourth game with hitting good length and getting into his rhythm again. So It's
Well, both players with contrasting objectives here. Thierry trying to slow it down, Jonathan trying to speed it up. That makes for great squash, I think.
indeed it's going to be, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more scrambling and long, hard rallies in this 5th game than there has been overall in the last 4 games we've seen.
Well, quite surprisingly, Thierry's come out hitting a solid ball.
Yeah,
Really
he seems to be
playing
just
at
happy
Jonathan's
just
pace, really.
there he is, and he's just which obviously he's just happy to hit the nice length in wait for the opening, I guess, that he did do in the 4th. But both of them hitting good length now and just getting back into their own rhythms and not giving too much openings at all.
Most of the work being done up and down the backhand wall here. The players punching the ball to a length, waiting for an opportunity. Oh, this silly mistake then for Jonathan Power.
Indeed it was, yeah, it was.
Takes Thierry to 2-1. A couple of interesting stats here, John. Thierry has only won once when Jonathan and Thierry have only gone to 2-all once. Thierry winning it in Boston last September. And also, Thierry seems to, when he gets to 2-all, he's won 9 and lost 7. Whereas Jonathan has won 6 out of 6. His stats are 6 and 8.
Yeah.
He's lost 8 and won 6 when he gets to 2-all. So
Yeah.
Thierry maybe shows that he's quite a bit of a stronger athlete. He can, when it goes to 5 sets, he's got a bit more endurance than Jonathan.
As you said with those stats, obviously Thierry is he gets stronger and gets more focused and mentally prepared for the 4th and 5th games, where Jonathan may just lapse a little bit. But as you said, 6 to 8 from Jonathan, and Thierry's won 9 and only lost 7 when it goes to 5. So and the last two rallies, Jonathan's made a few unforced errors, but Thierry's got to a 4-2 lead going into the 5th game. So.
So I'd just like to say thank you to Fiona Harrison and Adrian Battersby from Horizon Software for providing those stats. Very important to our job.
Very important for those stats and everything else that goes with it, just to see the players, how many times they've played each other and the matches they've won, the games they've lost, and you know how many 5-setters they've won and everything like that. So.
Well, Thierry just taking the lead here, 4-2. Starting again to play that nice medium-paced length, weighty length to the backhand corner, really forcing Jonathan into the back of the court, limiting his options.
And just Thierry's movement now. Every time he plays a nice little drive, he's straight back on that tee. Just have a look at his movement when he gets back to that. Just straight back to the tee there, just ready to dominate. And he's just playing the way he did in the 1st and 4th games.
Wow, this is very impressive squash here. Great length from both players, not allowing the other opportunity to attack to the front of the court. Well, Jonathan Power using beautiful racket skills to play beautiful drop shots, but still hitting the ball out from a relatively easy position, John.
Indeed he did. He was a little bit too relaxed of just trying to hit that ball back to length, and he hit the ball out.
Do you think this is concentration? Do you think that's Jonathan's problem here? It looks as though he's maybe a little bit frustrated, just lacking a bit of concentration.
Well, obviously he's frustrated to lose the 4th game so easily after being up 2-1. And he does look a little bit, just not too confident, and he's hitting some of the loose balls at the front of the court for Thierry just to push him back of the corners again.
Well, one tactic that I know certainly that Alex Goff, a great veteran player, uses against Jonathan Power, another player that maybe not with the highest ranking but always has a very good record against Jonathan. He always thought that Jonathan was weak in the back forehand corner. He thought his movement in there was a little bit ragged. He tended to be a bit off balance.
Yeah.
Obviously great racket skills from there, but he thought that his movement could break down, and I see that Thierry's doing that here. He's pushing him into the back forehand corner quite a lot.
Indeed, and he's had 2 very uncharacteristically unforced errors from Power. Get that word out. But who knows with Power? It's like, he seems to go walkabout, and then all of a sudden, as you said before, he gets 2 or 3 quick points, and you think you need him the most.
Well, this will be interesting to see what you can do here to come back.
It's left. 3-6 right.
3-6. This is the sort of situation that if Thierry can take the next 2 points, he's in such a commanding position in this match. It's going to be very difficult for Jonathan to come back. Really is an important time for both players here.
Indeed it is. Oh, it's a great kill shot from Jonathan.
Beautiful shot. I wouldn't exactly say that was percentage squash. The ball probably about 2 millimeters above the tin there. Well, this game turning into a bit of a marathon already, well over the hour at 71 minutes. Both players still moving very well.
77.
Still looking pretty fresh actually for a 5-setter. I'd say probably Thierry LINCOU just a little bit fresher looking than Jonathan Power, would you agree?
He is looking a little bit fresher. He's getting to the tee and he's looking for that opening all the time where Jonathan's sort of, just the way Jonathan plays, he's so relaxed trying to get back to the tee and down very low to the balls in the front of the court, Terry does.
Ah, beautiful shot. What a retrieve from Jonathan.
Unbelievable scramble by Jonathan Power.
Oh, this is great hustling from both players.
Oh, that's a bit of a... Terry just playing the man look there.
Yeah,
Martin.
yeah. I think it was a normal let situation, but based on some of the decisions the referee has, I think he thought he could get a stroke out of
A
that.
cheap stroke there, which I'm sure if he was given a stroke, Power would have gone ballistic.
Well, again, this pace definitely favouring Thierry LINCOU. Up and down the wall, very patient, putting in a tight drop shot.
Can't really complain with that, can you?
Well, Jonathan Power sprawled on the floor, protesting the decision. It's a strange position to protest a no let from. But
Sitting in the middle of the court at the front, he's sort of not wanting to give a stroke away.
I'm not sure of the ruling there actually. Jonathan probably not in the way of Thierry's shot, but since he was lying on the floor, it's probably enough interference to merit a no
Enough
let.
distraction anyway from Terry not to hit that ball. And if he had hit the ball, he would have hit the winner anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. A sensible decision in the end from the referee. Takes Thierry to 7-4.
Power seems to be not too concentrated out there. He's sort of given Thierry so many extra openings to just move him around and play at his pace.
Well, no player really taking control of this match. Jonathan throwing in a few loose balls to the front of the court here with loose posts. Maybe not injecting as much pace as he would like onto the ball, which is the thing that won him the second and third games, John.
Indeed it did. It was a true genuine Power style.
Ooh. Well, it's 7-4 down in the fifth game. That's a very strange mistake to make. 8-4 to Thierry LINCOU.
Indeed, it's a great lead for Thierry at 8-4 going on the fifth, coming back from 2-1 down.
Well,
Saw it was
good to see the dice are still working well,
yeah,
John.
Yeah, indeed. But another strange decision there, but a shot between the legs there by Jonathan Power, unbelievable. Just his reflexes.
Oh, well, this is tense squash. The atmosphere here is electric. The crowd are getting behind Jonathan. Jonathan looking a little bit dead and buried the last few points. Has crept back up to 6-8. He's back in this game.
Indeed he is. He's got a couple of quick points under his belt. The crowd is now trying to cheer him on as much as possible, which that's what Jonathan Power loves. So
A tight ball there for Thierry LINCOU.
Jonathan's picking some unbelievable balls up in front of court at desperate moments as well to stay in the rallies.
Oh, great shot. Oh!
He had that all the way and just...
I don't think there was one person in the crowd that wasn't off their seat there.
Indeed. Indeed.
Such
He
tense
didn't
times
have
here.
to make it that... sort of... No, it's just too close and just hit the top of the tin there, Martin. And he had Thierry scrambling everywhere there.